Ed here with the Digital Digest, and today I wanted to share a quick update on my experience with the Samsung Galaxy Tab S7 Plus. Now, this is a 12.4-inch Android tablet, $850 for the 128 gig capacity that I have here. And what I can tell you right here at the top of the video is that this is the best tablet I have ever touched. But I expected as much because the Tab S6 was already fantastic, so this only could build on it and improve on it. Now, whether or not it's worth upgrading to from the Tab S6 is another story. I'm just going to focus on updating my experience with this device. So, first and foremost, let's take a look at some media playback. Here's my unboxing. Crank up the volume for all of you. Ed here with the Digital Digest, and today I wanted to share a quick unboxing and first look at the Samsung Galaxy Tab S7 Plus. Now, this is the 128 gig model, and I'm not sure that this is really going to do it justice. Stereo speakers right here. What appears to be another. Let's make sure we've got the quality at the highest. Basically, the pogo port for the keyboard that I will scrub that a little bit. There, checking for some updates right now, or if you really want to go to town. But that pretty much sums it up. Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, all the latest and greatest. So you've got Wi-Fi 6, Bluetooth 5.0, no wireless charging, no IP rating, but those are things that went away, specifically the IP. Now, the speakers are actually so loud, the stereo. There are 4 speakers, 2 on each side, that I've actually gotten, more in-house complaints about how loud this thing gets, which is a good problem to have, right? I mean, tablets these days, laptops, they generally underachieve in that category. So that to me is good news. Now, overall performance is exactly what you would expect. It's snappy. It breezes through just about everything you throw at it. The 120 hertz display here is gorgeous. The 10,000 plus milliamp hour battery, I haven't had any issues with. Granted, I just started using it yesterday. And if you're wondering why I've got these 2 devices here, it's because really Samsung is having a fantastic year. I mean, and that's what this represents. I mean, the Note 20 Ultra, amazing. The Fold, even more amazing. This is the 2nd gen, of course, the Z Fold 2. And then this complementary monster, which finally we have a return of a 12.4-inch Android tablet that was long overdue. I mean, long before Apple had an iPad Pro, a 12.9-inch tablet, Samsung had a 12.2-inch Pro Note tablet. So, and that was really, in my opinion, the game changer of tablets. And they never brought it back. Well, now they have. The only thing missing is that in their pursuit to satisfy the how thin can we make it game, the S Pen is not integrated into this device. But overall, build quality is excellent. You already heard the audio. The display is, in my opinion, the best on the market. The pen experience, the S Pen is here, pocketed, just as it was with the Tab S6. Very easy to grab. It charges itself up on there. You can see this little air function demo, air actions rather, which we're not going to go through right now. And it's just a fantastic device. And I can tell you, besides, using it on my own, this is something where my fiance, who is the artist, has actually played with this and, with Sketchbook Pro, and it's just unmatched. I mean, that's really what it comes down to, is that, you can try, but it's very difficult to beat this device. I mean, at the end of the day, I don't think in the mobile world, and I know many of you out there will say, wait a minute, the Pencil with the iPad Pro is the best. Well, it has more software support. I think that's important. But when you talk about maturation and what Samsung has invested in this, it's really just an amazing product in terms of the latency improvement from previous generations of the Note. Big improvement here. And then in addition to that, just the texture of the actual writing experience, it's really unmatched. And I know I'm just scribbling, but that's because, quite frankly, that's about all I'm going to ever do. I mean, I will take notes on something like this, no question, but I'm not a digital artist, nor am I a traditional artist, at least in that capacity. So my fiance spent hours drawing on this and loved it. I mean, I had to pull her out. She fell in, and it was like, come on. We're supposed to have an evening tonight, and because she was just playing with this thing, and I already know that she really likes the pen experience here, and she is a note user, so that's to be expected. The pen is a little bit different than previous generations. She nor I are a fan of the buttons on these pens because they always are pressed inadvertently. It always is going to happen. It's like while you're, and here it's just to erase, but it's going to happen by accident. So you do always have to be aware. I'm not telling anyone here something they don't already know. But again, it's just so fluid to write on this thing, even if, what I've written is illegible. And it's just fantastic. The keyboard, for those of you that are looking for an update on that, it's everything that the previous generation with the Tab S6 was supposed to be and was not. In other words, the back part of this case not falling off, it's acting exactly as it should, and that's because it's a completely magnetic solution. It mimics the hinge on the Surface Pro line from Microsoft, and it does a very good job at mimicking that. So that's the good news. And, I'm really just overall pleased with what Samsung has done here. Is it a tremendous leap from the previous generation? Absolutely not. It's pretty much more of the same, but again, larger form factor, better display in terms of that 120 hertz. So it's not just, the increase of 10.5 to nearly 12.5 inches, which is really significant. I think that it hits that line of Ultrabooks, and that's what you need with a tablet. That's why the iPad Pro is so popular, is that it's just under the size of what you would traditionally get out of an Ultrabook. And that's what Samsung needed to do. I'm not complaining about 10.5-inch tablets, but the reason Samsung went backwards and started shrinking their tablets, their large format tablets, is because the most successful tablet in the world at the time, was the 9.7-inch iPad. So, as a response to that, much like Apple mimics the competition now, Samsung mimicked Apple and made a smaller tablet. And the first horrible example of that, even though, I purchased it myself and I didn't hate it, it's still functioning here, is, the Tab S3. And the Tab S3 was, they changed the aspect ratio, they shrunk the display, still an AMOLED, which Apple still doesn't use, shame on Apple. But the point is that it was a step backwards. And now I feel like they finally acknowledged that they have their own identity. They certainly have the sales to prove it. They certainly have the phones to prove it. I mean, far more innovative than anyone else in the industry right now, including this tchotchke over here. But they return to their roots. And if my biggest problem is that there's nowhere to slot this pen, that's not bad at all. I mean, so again, battery life is great. And remember, this is the model with 6 gigs of RAM, which generally I wouldn't recommend, but I haven't had a problem yet. I have not run into any bugs. One UI 2.5 is running smoothly here. It'll be interesting to see when we get 3.0. Again, this is Android 10 out of the box. So multimedia experience is great. Web browsing, obviously, is not going to be a problem on a device like this. If that wasn't already clear, jump over to ESPN. No issues at all with this. I have not seen any problems. Throw up some news. I wish the keyboard was backlit. Trackpad works well. Nothing here is perfect, so be aware of that. It's not as good as my HP, Spectre X360 13T, but I didn't expect that because, that is literally an Ultrabook with a 4K 13.3-inch AMOLED display, actually a Samsung panel at that, so very close to the quality of this, but, it's not a tablet. Now, does that mean that I would pick this over my 13T? No, because I can't do the sorts of, the wide breadth of things that I can with the 13T on this. It's just not possible. But is this still good? Absolutely. Is this something I would travel with in place of a laptop if I knew I was never, nothing but light work could present itself? Definitely. But if I had to do any sort of heavy lifting, that's when you have to realize a tablet is a tablet, and we're just not there yet. And not in terms of hardware, because in terms of hardware, we are just about there. It's more about the software to support said hardware, because ARM is coming, folks. I mean, Intel, they're stepping up their game for a reason. For the first time, their ass is on the block. And It's not just Qualcomm, it's going to be NVIDIA now with the acquisition of ARM. So it's a matter of time before these mobile chips that we usually just think of smartphones are taking over the overall computing world, because it's all about economies of scale, and that's where things are headed. And if you didn't see it coming, now you should. So Tab S7 Plus, I'm really enjoying. In fact, I'm worried I'm going to end up wanting to keep it. And I did purchase this. This is not something that was sent to me for review. And I really have been telling myself I'm not going to upgrade from the Tab S6, because the most meaningful upgrade we're getting is what you're looking at here, literally screen real estate. But the fact that the keyboard cover works as it should have with the Tab S6, the fact that they've given us a 120 hertz panel, the fact that we do have all of the niceties of 2020 Wi-Fi 6, it is a really compelling device. And the battery is ginormous. I mean, that 10,000 plus milliamp hour battery is a bit of a game changer. So, it's one of those things where if we weren't in the middle of a pandemic and I was able to travel, I would not even think about the upgrade, because Samsung is still giving $450 on trade-in for the Tab S6. Granted, I have the 256 gig capacity with the 8 gigs of RAM, which was the more expensive tablet. But because we're not traveling, as much as I'd like to have this in the house, I don't know if I can justify it, because this is really, for me, more about having something to travel with instead of a traditional Ultrabook. Again, when you know you don't need it. And I'm sorry I've had this on screen so long. This is nauseating, to say the least, all of that. But it's a fantastic tablet. Really, you will not beat this, in my opinion, in any shape or form. I think Samsung hit a home run here. It was a matter of time. Now, if only they can figure out a way to stick this in here. I don't care if the tablet gets a little bit thinner. If they can figure it out, then it's an all-in-one solution where I don't have to worry about losing this. Granted, that little placeholder there on the back does a fairly good job. You probably won't lose it, but it's not the best design, in my opinion. I didn't think it was last gen. I'm not going to pretend it is this gen. It's good, but it's certainly not as good as having this bad boy just pop out and be ready to go. I'd much rather have that sort of solution than what we're dealing with here on the Tab S7 Plus. And for those of you that missed it, I stated before, stay away from the Tab S7. I mean, it's just Samsung becoming Apple and Microsoft at the same time. It's less expensive, but there's a reason. No AMOLED means no purchase to me personally. I will not give them hard-earned money for a step backwards. It is an 11-inch tablet. It is more affordable. I do think these are ridiculously priced. I mean, I mentioned this in my unboxing. $850 for this, $930 for the 256, and then over $1,000 for the 512. I mean, come on now. What's going on? And I really think the base configuration that we're looking at here, if they were going to price it as they did at $850, it should have had 8 gigs of RAM, and they should have given us a 12 gig option on the step up with the higher internal storage. I mean, of course, you have a micro SD card slot for storage expansion, so don't forget that. And DeX is just awesome. I mean, it is far from perfect. I'll probably do a dedicated video with DeX usage. One thing I will mention with the case, you can see it right now, is that the weight of the actual keyboard does make this slide down a little bit when it's on the kickstand. So Samsung, I'm not nitpicking. This is a $1,000 package we're looking at here. If you buy them together right now, they're, the keyboard cover, book cover, whatever they call it, is half price. But at retail, $230, $850, and it does that. So nearly perfect, but not. But overall, at, what does this weigh? I think it's like 20 some odd ounces. This is very hard to beat. I mean, to be able to slip this in a bag and have something that could nearly replace an Ultrabook, and if you're an artist or just love drawing in general as a hobby, you've got it. And then the cameras, I didn't even mention, are a solid upgrade from the Tab S6. Again, I don't like to shoot images with tablets, but there are a lot of people out there that do, because this is what they carry with them. And God knows the cameras on here are going to make every laptop's cameras look like crap, because, well, the majority of laptops do have crap cameras. So really liking it. Again, multimedia, work, this thing does everything. And I will likely compare it to the Tab S6 as well, which I have right here. And I still use on a daily basis. But that may change now that I'm sporting this bad boy right here. Granted, it's only 7.6 inches on the inside, but where it can go is what it's all about. Any questions or comments, please feel free to post them. Hit that like button, and as usual, please feel free to subscribe, and please stay safe. Later.